got a big goal for 2014? Anybody got a big goal for 2014? I got a big goal for 2014 as well, so I'm excited to be able to partner with you guys and going and achieving it. My name is Sarnicola. I'm originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan. There's one. I got a very blue-collar, middle-class upbringing. I just wanted to be very successful financially one day, so I went. I was like, well, I can't sing, dance, play an instrument, rhyme. I'm not going to do anything illegal, so I left sports, right? So I went out and played college baseball. I was introduced to the industry of network marketing at the age of 18. Made my first million in the industry at the age of 25. Company I was a part of went out of business. Blake Mullen and I started funding the bank account for that company so that our people would never miss a check in our team. And proud to say that they never missed a check. No one ever missed a check. And we ended up acquiring the assets of that company, and that's how Visalis was born 8.5 years ago. 4 years ago, we launched this thing called the Body by Vi Challenge, and the rest is history. Now, today, we got the #1 largest weight loss and fitness challenge on the planet because of which is pretty cool. 3 million transformations across now, starting as of last week, across 5 different countries as of last week. And many, many, many more countries to come, many, many more millions of people to come. And now you got, just a business platform where every day you get to transform somebody. You know, the story that you guys just heard was kind of interesting. I believe she said you lost, was it 100 pounds? 110? 110 pounds. What you didn't hear in the back is that she went to, she was in daycare as a 2-year-old and 3-year-old with Ashley. Yeah, pretty interesting, huh? So it's pretty cool that, 30-some years later, we create a company that goes and helps somebody that you went to daycare with 30 years earlier lose 110 pounds, right? So I'm excited for all you guys to have a business where you can challenge your friends, challenge your family, challenge your coworkers, challenge your people at church, challenge the neighborhood. And every time they have a transformation, you guys get to have a financial transformation. And how many of you guys want to have a really big financial transformation? A really big one, right? That really big financial transformation is going to be 100% correlated to your ability to create the physical transformation as many people as you can, both personally and through the team that you're going to build, and the team that you're going to develop, and the team that you're going to lead, a team of fantastic, amazing, focused, driven, servant-driven promoters that are going to go out there and touch as many human beings as they can. And I want to create transformation after transformation after transformation. We've only got 3 million so far. The 5 countries that we're in stretches across 450 million people. Half of them are overweight or more. So that's 275 million, that's 225 million folks that are classified as overweight in these countries. We've only got 3 million of them. That's 222 million people that are not on our challenge in these 5 countries. And by the way, we got 3 more countries to launch before the year is over. Hey, for those of you guys thought that, hey, we've gone as far as we can go, I can let you know, we are just getting warmed up and we are just getting started. So I hope you guys are ready for a fun ride. So my job today, first and foremost, is to make sure that I've got everybody's engagement, that everybody is present, and that I'm with everybody on a one-on-one level. I want you guys to treat today as if it's just you and I. I want you to treat today like it's just you and me sitting down at a coffee table, and you're sitting there with a notepad and a pen, and you say, hey, you've earned tens of millions of dollars in this style of marketing. Give me one of your best philosophies. Because today I'm going to give you one of my top 3 philosophies of my personal life as to why I believe I've earned tens of millions of dollars. So if we were sitting together, just you and I, coffee table, notepad and pen, tape recorder, would you be present in that conversation, yes or no? Yeah. Would you be like, well, I just got done eating and I'm kind of drifting and I got text messages and I got Facebook and I got this and I got that? Or if we were sitting there one-on-one, would you be sitting there text messaging? Well, let me start over. If you were sitting there text messaging, we wouldn't be sitting there one-on-one. So I'm going to challenge you guys to be as present as possible, and I'm going to challenge you guys to bring it. I want you guys to be engaged. Here's why. This is the Pyramid of Success. This is John Wooden. John Wooden is a personal mentor of myself, Blake, and Ryan. 2008, we gave him the Global Leadership Award before he passed away. How many of you guys, by show of hands, know who John Wooden is? He is rated the #1 coach of all sports of all time. Any coach that you know has his Pyramid of Success hanging in their locker room. He wrote it in the 1960s. Lower left-hand corner, lower right-hand corner, these are the cornerstones of success. These are the cornerstones of success. Cornerstone of success #1 is industriousness, aka hard work. Turns out if you're lazy, you will not be successful. Turns out if you're lazy in the gym, you're not going to have a successful body. If you're lazy in your business, you're not going to have a successful bank account. If you're lazy in your relationship, you're not going to have a successful relationship. You cannot be lazy and be successful at the same time. The second cornerstone of success that I found really interesting, considering who John Wooden is he said is enthusiasm. And anyone that's ever met John Wooden will tell you he is the most conservative human being that you'll ever meet. I think a lot of people confuse that, consider themselves, raise your hand if you consider yourself rather reserved or maybe slightly conservative. Please raise your hand. I can always tell who they are because they're always like, or actually, sometimes I get one of these. And then if I was like, if they weren't conservative, and they weren't reserved, I said, hey, raise your hand if you're not conservative or reserved. They sound like this. And all I said was raise your hand. Now the thing is, John Wooden's the most conservative, reserved human being that I've ever met in my life, but guess what? He says that the cornerstone of success is enthusiasm. I think a lot of conservative people and reserved people think you cannot have enthusiasm yet still be conservative. John Wooden's the most conservative person you ever meet, yet he states that you cannot be successful without enthusiasm being the cornerstone of success. So I believe that, us bringing energy today and us being, enthusiastic allows us to be more successful, because here's a proven fact. You retain more if your energy is up than if your energy is low. You remember more, you retain more, you get more from it, you pull more from it. So, as a prerequisite, I gotta ask you guys, can you bring some enthusiasm for me? Fantastic. Unfortunately, that was only a level 5. And this is the Southeast region. I heard that the Southeast region wants to be the #1 region in the country. Is that true? So before I get started, I want you guys to take it from a level 5 to a level 10. I want to see these chandeliers shaking. I want the people on the 17th floor calling down, complaining, wanting a refund for their room. I want you guys to take this from an enthusiasm, energy level 5 to a level 10 on the count of 3, as if your 5-star ambassadorship depends on it. 1, 2, 3, go. You guys all said you had a big goal for 2014. We talked about, hey, enthusiasm is linked to that 5-star run. Do me a favor. I want you to write down right now, what is the problem? What's the problem? Why are you not where you want to be yet? I want you to write it down. What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? What's holding you back? What's the problem? What's the issue? What's the roadblock? What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? Everyone's got a problem. Go ahead and tell your neighbor what the problem is. Tell them what their problem is. Go ahead, let them know. You know what I find interesting? I only told you to tell one neighbor your problem. You know what I find interesting, gang, is many of you were quicker to write down your problem than you were to tell me what that goal was for 2014 5 minutes ago. I was like, what's your big goal for 2014? And everyone's like, And I was like, what's your problem? I was like, oh, let me tell you my problem. I got this problem, I got that problem, I got that. So the first thing we're going to talk about today, gang, is that you must learn that your problem is not your problem. I know. You're like, listen, you made me pay $29, drive, leave my house, come here 2 hours away for you to tell me my problem is not my problem. Yes, that's exactly what I want to tell you, is that your problem is not your problem. Your problem is not your problem. Everyone do me a favor, make a little goalpost out here. Put your thumbs like this, put it straight out, and then straight out from your face, straight up from your face. And I want you to draw it in closer and go, I wonder what the problem could be. 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 I don't know, but here's what I think. I think the problem is internal. The grand majority of problems that we have, raise your hand if you are currently in some sort of drama in your life by a show of hands. Everybody look around. Raise your hand if you just came out of some drama in the last few months. Raise your hand, everyone look around. If you didn't raise your hand yet, don't worry, some drama's right around the corner. Does anybody know what that's called? Life. Everyone has problems, everyone has issues, everyone has drama. That's called life. That's called life. The problem is internal. So we got to work on, today we're going to work on internal. Today we're going to work on what's in here. Today we're going to work on this thing right here. And if you'll allow this I'm going to give you guys one of my top 3 philosophies of why I believe I've earned tens of millions of dollars by the age of 34. One of these philosophies is today. Your beliefs determine your actions determine your results. That's not a philosophy, that's a law. I'm not looking for debate on this. Your beliefs, what you believe determines what you do determines what you get. True or true? True. That's true. What you believe determines what you do determines what you get. Your beliefs determine your actions determine your results. If I were you, I'd be trying to figure out then what the heck is a belief and what determines it. If this is truth. How many of you, again, when I say it again, believe that your beliefs determine your actions and your actions determine your results? Who believes that? Okay, so then I would be going crazy if I were you, going, well, what determines my beliefs then? And what is a belief? Well, here's what a belief is. A belief is a feeling of absolute certainty. A belief is a what? Feeling. Everybody say a belief is a feeling. It is a feeling of absolute certainty. It's a feeling. It is not absolute certainty. It's nothing but a feeling of absolute certainty. So when somebody says, well, I'm just too shy to be successful at that. I believe I'm too shy to be successful at that. That's just your feeling. That's your feeling. Well, I believe I can't do this. I believe it's not possible. I believe, well, that's not the certainty. That's just your feeling of certainty. I'll give you guys an example. How many of you, you and your significant other, have ever been in an argument where you're both absolutely certain that you were right? Please raise your hand. Which of you was right? Everybody raised their hand again except for one smart guy who's like, she was. One guy can have a good night tonight, the rest of you not so much. And belief is a feeling of absolute certainty, which is why you both could be so certain that you were right. You were so certain that you're right, and guess who was right? You both were. Because in your belief system, you had a feeling that you were certain. Now, how many guys were absolutely certain about something? You were absolutely dead certain about something, and came to find out that you were wrong before? Raise your hand. What does that tell us? That tells us a belief is not absolute certainty. A belief is feeling of absolute certainty. And you can create a belief about anything. You can create a belief about anything. Nothing in life has meaning except the meaning which we choose to give it. William Shakespeare. What that means is when stuff happens, it doesn't mean this, and it doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that. You decide what it means. You create the meaning for that. And most people, they're programmed so negatively that every time something happens, they give it a negative meaning, a negative meaning, a negative meaning. And there's some few people that are programmed different ways where they give it a positive meaning and an optimistic meaning. And we're going to dig into that today. See, here's what a belief is. Or here's how a belief is created, excuse me. A belief is nothing more than a batch of similar thoughts. I want you to, your beliefs are stored inside your brain, okay? Now this brain of yours is the greatest filing cabinet of all time. It is the greatest library and filing cabinet of all time. It stores file after file after file after file after file after file after file. And every time something has happened to you since the beginning of your life, since you can process, since you were 1 year old, your brain began filing. Every time something happened to you, something is called a reference. So every time something happened, that's called a what? A reference. Every time something happened, that's called a what? A reference. Your brain put it in a what? File. Oh, reference file. Reference file. Reference file. Now the reference could be good and the reference can be bad. References are neutral. Your brain just files them, doesn't matter. I'll give you an example. You meet a guy named Bill. First time you meet Bill, you're like, huh. Bill's a bit of a weenie. Bill is kind of a weenie. This goes into the Bill file. Right here, close. Next time you meet Bill, yeah, I think Bill's a weenie. Bill is a weenie. Back in the Bill file. Third time you meet Bill, yes, validation. Bill is indeed a massive weenie. Yes, that's true. So every time now that somebody says Bill's name, every time his name pops up in the news feed, every time you think of Bill, you think of what? Weenie. Exactly. And this is how your brain has worked ever since you were old enough to process. But not about Bill, but about everything. Everything that's ever happened to you in the history of your life. My job is not to dive into all that. My job is to talk about, business, finances. My job is to open up the file that talks about money and how you perceive money, how you think of it, how you evaluate it. And maybe we'll jump into this other little file over here, which is the one on yourself. Because these are the two things that are going to determine whether or not you make it here. These are the two things that are going to determine whether or not you make it here. See, ever since you could process, you started building a file on the topic of money. And sadly, the people that created these files for you were the people that raised you. They were your teachers, your neighbors, your friends' parents, and your parents' friends. And in these files were things like this. Money doesn't grow on. Money is the root of all evil. The rich just get richer. Rich people are just so... I wasn't looking for that word. But it's okay. This is a file that they have built since they were a kid. Is that if somebody's rich, then they must be greedy because they have to be greedy in order to have money. That's a file inside their money folder. I was looking for more. The rich are what? They're just so lucky. Oh, so lucky. They're so lucky. They're so lucky. And the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And this is just the file that we have on money. We're not the Rockefellers. All these dumb sayings like money doesn't grow on trees. Really? Huh? Money is made with paper. Paper comes from trees. You are wrong. Money does grow on trees. It's the only place it grows. It's trees. So, in this file on topic of business and money, you might be like, oh man, networking, direct selling, those things don't work. You need to go get a safe, secure son, daughter, you're 5 years old. It's time for you to go to school and get really good what? Grades. And then when you're in school, get really good grades so you can get into the best what? College. When you're in college, get really good what? Grades. So you can graduate with a really good degree, GPA, whatever, and then you can get hired to the very best job, and that job you're going to work for the rest of your life. And then you're going to retire with that company, and they're going to take care of you for the rest of your life. How many guys fell for that one? So I could go on and on and on, but you notice how we're all yelling out the same answers. If we're all running this or yelling out the same answers, that tells me that most of our friends, relatives, teachers came from the same place financially. They all suffered from the same disease, which is chronic bronchitis. Because these are the things that broke people say. And sadly what it does is it's been programming you ever since you were little. Giving you little shot at succeeding at something like this, unless you recognize and you change it. Unfortunately, there's another folder over here, which is how you view yourself. I'm no good at this. I've tried something like this before. This never works for me. I'm not lucky. I'm shy. I'm this. I'm not that. Blah, 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 blah. And you just got this mile-long folder of self-sabotaging of yourself. And all of these references of somebody saying these things over and over and over again, this is how a belief was created for you and everything that you believe. What's sad is these files right here are the most valuable files that you have and will ever have in your lifetime. These ones right here, they're the most valuable files you'll ever have in your lifetime, period, end of story, no conversation. Yet we do very little to protect these files. I see people all the time, you know, they got like their laptop and it's password, triple password protected, and you gotta have like a fingerprint and an eye scan and a password to get into their laptop because they want to protect their files on there. Meanwhile, those files are backed up on a cloud, they're backed up on a server. Yeah, you got triple, quadruple password protect the file. If somebody walked up to you at a coffee shop, you were typing on your computer, they grabbed your laptop, they broke it in half, they threw it on the ground, they started stomping on it, and then they poured their coffee all over their laptop. How many of you guys are going to have something to say about that? How many of you guys would be so enraged, it might even come to like physical, like you'd be enraged, right? Why was it only women that raised their hand right there? Here's what's crazy to me. Those files are backed up. Yet you let people walk all over these files all day long, do nothing, say nothing, and have no protection for them whatsoever. You know, I know at my house that I grew up in, we'd have all the important documents in a safe. Right? Birth certificates, social security cards, titles, blah, blah. It's all in a safe. All the important files in a safe. And then the safe is locked. And the safe is actually in a desk that's locked. And the desk is in an office that's locked. And the office is in a house that's locked. And the house is surrounded by a fence that's locked. All to protect those pieces of paper that are in that little safe. That's what people do to protect those files. If somebody walked into your office, opened your safe, took out all your files, and just started ripping all your files up, started stomping on your files, started messing up all your files, how many of you guys are going to be very upset by a show of hands, right? So why is it you do nothing when people start messing with these files? What level of protection, how many gates do you have to get through so before people can mess with these files? Because some of you guys, a person can say one word and they start messing with your files, right? You got no protection on these files. You wouldn't let someone just walk right into your office, open the drawer, and just like poop right on your files, would you? So why do you let people poop on these files? Don't let anyone poop on your files. I'm dead serious. These are the most important things that you'll ever possess, yet you have no protection of them. See guys, it's been proven that what you continually think about is what you'll eventually become. Now I know there's a couple guys in the room that are going, dude, if that was true, I'd be a woman already. That's not what I'm talking about. But it has been proven that what you continually think about is what you eventually become. That's why the rich get what? Richer. And the poor get what? More. And people with drama get more. People with problems get more. People that, that are fun get more. People that are successful have more. It's because that's what they think about. Now Albert Einstein said the level of thinking that has gotten us to where we're at today will not get us to where we're committed to be. This is a really important quote. Okay, where we say we want to be and where we're committed to be, two very different things. Oh, I want to be skinny, and I want to be happy, and I want to do this, and everyone says a lot of stuff. But what you're committed to be and what you say you want to be, those are two completely different things. How many of you guys, when you think of your end game here in VI, whatever that goal is, whatever that major, massive goal is, whatever it is for you, 5-star, 3-star, ambassador, global, I don't know, how many of you guys, when you think of that goal, you know, deep down, inside, without a doubt, you are 100% committed to making that happen? Make some noise if that's you. I am so under-impressed on that response. Because if your level of enthusiasm determined that, if your level of enthusiasm determined whether or not you were going 5-star ambassador, 3-star global, etc., and you were 100% committed to it, and I ask the question like this, how many of you guys are 100% committed to making it happen no matter what? Make some noise. What would it sound like in here? Assuming that is true, the level of thinking that has gotten you to where you're at today is not enough to get you to that goal. It's not enough. Here's why. If the level of thinking you had today was enough, you would be there already. You would have it already. That's why it's so important that you get to an event like this. Raise your level of thinking. Raise your level of thinking. That's why it's so important you get to Louisville. Raise your level of thinking. Raise your level of thinking. If your commitment is here, your level of thinking must be here. If the goal you want is here, your level of thinking must be here. We must raise our level of thinking. I don't mean you, I mean us. Because here's my commitment. Like my commitment, what I'm committed is I want to have the #1 largest weight loss company in the history of this world. I want to be the #1 company to fight the obesity epidemic in the history of the world. I want to have the #1 direct selling company in the history of the world. I want to have the biggest, baddest entrepreneurial opportunity for the average person in the history of the world. And I'm 100% committed to doing that. Are you guys committed to doing that with me? I got to raise my level. I know that. I know I got to raise my level of thinking because we'd already be there. That's what today's about. Raising our level of thinking. This idea, guys, is called the law of attraction. Think and Grow Rich is the best book on the topic. Think and Grow Rich. What's the book called? Think and Grow Rich. It wasn't Grow Rich and Think. It's think, beliefs. Think, and grow rich. It's all about how to reprogram your brain to be a successful person. Now, this idea, guys, the law of attraction, it's science. There's science to it in your brain. How it works, I'm going to cover it for you. It's not magic. Yes, I know there's a commercialized version of this idea to make it seem like it's magical. You just think really hard and magical success fairies drop success off at your door through magic. Not true. Here's the science. This will take me a minute to get through. But this is one of the most important things I've ever learned. And now I want to share with you. Okay, your brain, the holder of your beliefs, Your beliefs are made up, are categorized in what? It starts with an F. Files. Your files have hundreds, thousands, millions of what inside them? References. It's time to recap. Your brain holds your what? Files. Your files categorizes your what? References. This is what creates these things called beliefs. Here's what this idea is right here. Your brain will attract bits of information, aka references. It will attract things that are happening, bits of information every second that harmonize most with what's already in the files, aka your unconscious mind. So, every time something happens, your brain is trained to only recognize what it's always recognized. Your brain is trained to only recognize what it's always recognized. Here's why. At any given moment, there are 1.3 million bits, pieces of information happening every second. Did you get them? What about that million? What about that million? What about that million? And that million? Did you get them all? That million? That million? Did you get that million? No, none of us do. We only process 137 bits of information of the 1 million. Which means every second, as human beings, we miss 99.9% of everything that is happening. And I know some of you guys are like, that's not true, I get everything. Prove it to you. Some of you guys have noticed that my watch is on my right arm. The reason why is you're watch people. So inside your brain, you're constantly getting references to watches because you got this big file on watches and you're watch people. You're like, why is this watch on his right hand? What kind of watch is that? Is that a girl's watch? What is that guy wearing? That guy's blinging today. So you got all these things going on. Watch this. Raise your hand if you recognize that and you're a watch person in the room. See all the hands go up? Raise your hand if you didn't notice and you couldn't care less. They're not watch people. By the way, watch people, my wrist is not on the wrong hand, it's on the right hand. Maybe yours is on the wrong hand. Mine's always been on the right hand. Where my lefties at? Hey, you know what I'm talking about. And then there's other people that are like, I'm a shoe person. Shoe people are like, oh, he's got black boots and they're little snakeskin, half zippers up the side. Those are pretty cool. I like those boots, or I hate those boots. Where are my shoe people out that notice I have black boots on? Where are the rest of you that didn't even know that I had feet? So how is it possible? How is it possible that half of you saw and half of you didn't? See, it's been happening. Why didn't you pick it up? You should have picked up everything. Because your brain is trained to only pick up stuff that it cares to pick up from your past. Some of you guys have said, those are the weirdest balloon columns I've ever seen in my life. Some of you guys are going, there's balloons in here? Who noticed the crazy balloon columns? Who didn't notice the crazy balloon columns? See guys, the bottom line is there's a different presentation. There's a different training going on for every single one of you because you can only pick up less than 1% of what's happening and you're only picking up what your mind, your past is used to picking up. That's why there's some of you and you're going, this guy has no filters and he believes, he doesn't know about my belief, poop on his file, poop on my file. And some of you guys, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I love files and references, it's so good. And some of you guys are sitting there going, pot roast, pot roast. Three completely different trainings going on at the exact same time. Okay, I told you it wasn't magic. Here's what it is. Inside your brain, you have a filter. You have a filter that decides what comes in and what does not come in. Your filter is called your reticular activating system. It is called your RAS. That is the part of your brain that processes all of these bits of information. It's the thing, actually, it's the gatekeeper. Better way to say it. Your RAS is the gatekeeper. We call it your filter. This is the part of your brain that says yes, no, and mostly it's no, 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 yes, no, 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 yes, because it's only letting in how much percent? Less than. Way less than 1%. 99.9999% of stuff we miss every moment. You know, well, I don't get it. Why is it only let in what it's used to seeing? Because it needs to make sense of stuff, right? And anything it doesn't make sense of, it just blocks out. I'll prove it to you. How many of you have ever bought a new car before? Raise your hand. How many of you guys noticed once you drove that car off the lot, that same car was everywhere in the upcoming weeks? Raise your hand. Two choices here. Choice number one, those cars had always been on the street, but you didn't have any references in your brain that said, look for that car. And the moment you started even looking at that car, you started seeing that car. The moment you bought that car, you saw that car everywhere. Second option, the moment you drove off the lot, the general manager's like, yeah, go ahead and release the cars. Just to mess with you. How many of you guys believe it's probably the first example is the real one, right? Guys, right now, my brain is so programmed on BMWs that anytime I see a black or silver BMW, it's a Visal's one. It's, because if you think about it, think about how many events, conference calls, you know, pictures, videos that I've seen that have to do with black BMW is myself. I mean, it's been millions of references. So in the black BMW file, it's just myself. Millions of references in my brain. Like, I'll see a black BMW and be like, oh, they must not have just put their tag on yet, that's all. That's how programmed I am to think that a black BMW is myself. How many of you guys know what I'm talking about, right? But if you weren't in Vibe, would you ever associate a black or silver BMW to our company? No. Because that's not in your files. That's not in your files. So guys, now I ask you, what's in your files? What's in your files? Because if you got files that are full of crap, full of junk, full of gook, that's what you're attracting. You got a bunch of drama in your files, that's what you're attracting. It's not a magical attraction, it's all you see. It's all you see. Your brain is like, all I see is negative. All I see is a problem. All I see is an issue. All I see is drama. All I see is how I can't. All I see how it's not possible. All I see is how I can't make it. All I see is... Because that's what's back in your past files. Man, if you failed at something 1,000 times in a row, your belief is pretty strong that you're not going to make it. Is this starting to make sense to you guys? Do you understand how this is not magic? It's just how your brain has been programmed. But guys, your brain is like a supercomputer. Reprogram it. If you don't like the file that your computer's running, kill that file off. Excuse me, kill that program off. If you don't like if you don't like how it's running, if it's got a virus, kill it. Get rid of it. Get a new program. Run a new program. The cool thing is, you control that. You do. You control whether or not you want to run a new program. How many of you guys have met people that are so negative, the moment they walk in the room, everyone's like, oh, gotta go. If you didn't raise your hand, you might be that person. That's right, we can fix it. Need some new files, a lot of them. See guys, this idea of your filter, for me, out of everything that we talked about today, this idea of your filter, this is the $1 million idea that I can give you. Once I understood, oh, wait a second, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening, but my brain is just trained to find the broke stuff because that's how I've been raised. But I can change that if I want to start looking for not the broke stuff, but the opposite of the broke stuff. I can look for the rich stuff, the wealthy stuff, the opportunity. I'm gonna start doing that instead. Once I realized that, that was it. All I did was build upon that, and build upon that, and build upon that. See, it's not that bad things don't happen to people who are successful financially. It's not that we don't have problems. And it's not that we don't have issues and drama. That's not it at all. It's that, number one, a filter is so well trained that we don't recognize most of it to even be a problem. So what's a problem for most people, we might look at it and go, whatever. All right, what's next? Where that might knock someone else out for a week. Somebody told me no, I can't believe they told me no. I need therapy, and I need a good book, and I need a hot bath, and I need a massage. And I need to go to Sedona, and I need like the energy rocks to heal this. This is terrible. Or somebody else would be like, okay, who's the next now? Not who's the next yes, but who's the next now? Let's go. Give me another one. 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 It's just a different filter. So we have the same stuff happen. It's just we don't recognize it. We don't let it in. Or when it does impact us or affect us, because it does. The length of time that it impacts us or affects us is much shorter. Much shorter. For Ashley and I, this is one of our personal relationship philosophies as well. Anytime one of us is out there in Negland, we're just like, dude, your filter's off. You're killing me with that filter. Because it's not a personal attack. It's like, hey, your filter's off. All you're seeing right now is what you want to see, and all you want to see is negative. So when you adjust your filter, come back and we can talk. She said it, she called me out on it last night. This is real life stuff for us. How quickly can you readjust your filter? Readjust your filter. Readjust your filter. Readjust your filter. How quickly can you react and respond and get back on track? That's what determines how successful you are. It's not that nothing bad ever happens to you. It's that how long you spend the most time with are who you will become. Choose them wisely. You cannot thrive in a toxic environment. Anyone ever heard of the story of frog soup? If you take a boiling pot of water and you throw a frog in it, the frog will jump right out. If you take room temperature water and you put a frog in it and you slowly turn up the temperature, the frog will stay in it until it cooks to death, until it croaks. Aha. Point is, a lot of you guys put yourself in an environment that you don't even know. They just turn up the heat, turn up the heat, turn up the heat until you cook to death. You didn't even know you were in the heat. That was your environment. You didn't notice it. See, what I'm trying to tell you is an environment situation isn't like you walk into it and then boom, it happens all of a sudden, because that's the stuff you walk away from. It just turns up and turns to the heat and turns to the heat and turns to the heat and turns to the heat. You got to change your environment. You know what I love about today? Today is about an environment that's different. Today is about an environment of people that are trying to make stuff happen in their life. People that are going forward. People that are going for it. People that have goals and dreams and aspirations. You know what I have to say to anybody that says, well, you just with those people, they're so stupid. It's like, hey, I'm sorry that you don't like the fact that we're trying to move forward in our lives. I'm sorry, but that's what we do. We get people together to move forward. We're not interested in moving backwards. We're not interested in staying the same. We want to move forward. Hey, let me tell you something. You don't have anything to be ashamed of. that you want to move forward in your life. You don't have anything to be, some of you guys are like, you tiptoe around about the fact that you're trying to move forward in your life. Do you know how much, think about all the most successful people that you've ever heard of or read of. Do you know how much, jump they had to take? The kids these days, they call them haters. How many haters they had? How many critics they had? Hey, a statue has never been erected to a critic. Doesn't happen. You don't walk in front of a building like, here stands the world's greatest hater. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's the people that are willing to take that stuff on. That's the people that people talk about. Hey, by the way, if people aren't talking, you must not be doing anything. So, this is okay. You got nothing to be ashamed of that you want to be moving forward in your life. But you got to change your inputs. You got to change your environment. You got to change your inputs. What do they call the television? The automatic income reducer? Automatic income reducer. Television set. The automatic income reducer. Click, and there goes my income. Going backwards. You know why I'm proud of all of you guys today? Today you chose to change your inputs. You could have done anything today. You could have sat at your house and watched cartoons, could have watched a movie. People that live right down the street, they couldn't be bothered to be here. They're sitting at home eating, donuts and watching cartoons on Saturday morning going, well, today's my only day off. How long do you want to have that problem? This group's a group of people that are committed to changing their input so that Tuesday is Saturday, and Friday is Wednesday, and every day has 24 hours in a day, and 7 days in a week. Wow, don't got time for that philosophy, but one of the greatest things I've ever learned as an entrepreneur, did you know there's literally 24 hours in a day, and there's 7 days in a week? It's crazy. It's crazy. Did you know there's no rule book, that you actually can eat dinner food for breakfast and breakfast food for dinner? Did you know there's no rule book and you can do what you're supposed to do on Saturday and Tuesday and what you're supposed to do on Tuesday and Saturday? Did you know there's no rule book and what you do on Saturday nights you can do on Tuesday night? What you do on Tuesday night you can do on Saturday morning. I found that out as a full-time entrepreneur. It's crazy. There's 24 hours a day, there's 7 days in a week, and nobody has like a set rule book that tells you that you have to do once you buy your life back. All we got to do, guys, is we got to buy your life back. We got to get you to that point where you can walk in one day if you choose to, and you have the opportunity to fire your boss. That's what I like to do. I want you guys to wake up one morning, 6:30. That alarm clock's going off. What's that thing sound like, by the way? Anybody ever notice that the alarm clock makes the same noise that you hear in a horror movie right before someone gets it? Just throwing it out there. 6:30 in the morning, you decide one day you wake up, things going off, you grab a hammer, you whack that thing with a hammer a few times, and you go back to sleep. And you know when you wake up? You wake up when you're done sleeping. That's a weird idea. So you wake up when you're done sleeping. You guys know what it looks like to wake up when you're done sleeping? Here's what it looks like. You're laying there in bed. You're having a good dream because you're smiling. And you open one eye. You open the other eye and you're like, I guess I'm done. I got no more sleep left in me. That's all of it. So it's about 12:30 in the afternoon. You go in your closet. You put on some flip-flops, some shorts, a visor, and a Hawaiian shirt. Because it doesn't. The thing about Hawaiian shirt is it doesn't matter where you're going, but you are going on vacation when you put a Hawaiian shirt on. You could be going to Alaska. You put a Hawaiian shirt on. That means it's vacation time. You stroll into work about 1 o'clock. People are looking at you on, lost their mind. You stroll right into your boss's office, you put your feet up on his or her desk, you put your hands behind your head, and you say, I'm sorry, I cannot fit you in my schedule anymore. For all those years. Some of them you wave goodbye with less fingers than others. You're gone. And do you know what you do that day? Do you know what you do next? Whatever you want. Yeah, whatever you want. See, here's the thing about being a full-time entrepreneur. You're going to work. You're going to work hard. But it's going to be on your terms. You're going to work with who you want, where you want, when you want. You get to decide. And if you want to work 18 hours a day on Thursday and 18 hours a day on Saturday and take Monday off, you get to do that. If you want to do it in Germany, you want to do it in Canada, you want to do it in the US, you can do that. If you're like, hey, you know what? I don't really like that guy, therefore I'm not going to work with him. You don't have to. You get to work with the people that you want to work with, but gang, you've got to change your inputs, change your environment, change your inputs, change your focus. Let go of the things you can't change, focus on the things that you can change. Here's what I've noticed about people that don't have the things they want, they're always focused on things they cannot control. The weather, traffic, stupid taxis, boss, all the things that they can't control. You know what you can't control? You get to control your reactions. You get to control your actions and your reactions. You get to control your actions and your reactions. You have 100% full control. Do you have a control over whether or not somebody is interested in what we do? Nope. You only have control over how many people you share with. Do you have control over whether or not somebody shows up or not? Nope. Only on how many people you invite. Do you have any control over how many people quit? Nope. Only how many people you enroll. Do you have any control over how many people? You get the idea. Focus on what you can control. Focus on those things. You know, for some people like, well, you know, God is in control. God is waiting for you to make a decision and to take action. He's given you the freedom to choose, the freedom to act, the freedom to sit down, the freedom to be lazy, the freedom. When I hear that, I'm like, recipe for a lazy human being. God is in control. I'm going to lay on my couch, and if anything great happens, call me and let me know. No. God has given you a skill set, an ability, a wherewithal, given you, a power to be successful or to empower people or to impact humankind or to do nothing. Or to do nothing at all. Sit back and go, I've got no control over anything, so I'm going to do nothing at all. Don't do anything at all. Go do something. Go do something with it. All these skills and talents that you've been blessed with, all this ability, all of this stuff that you have, all these characteristics that you have, why would you be given them if you weren't supposed to use them? Why would you be given them? Go use them. Change your focus, guys. Change your focus. Focus on the things you control. Your action and your reactions. Your actions and your reactions. And lastly, decide what you want and go after it. It doesn't matter to me what it is. Whatever it is, go after it. The number one regret, as said by nurses that work with the elderly who pass, the number one regret of all elderly who pass away, the last thing they say is, I wish I would have taken more risks. I wish I would have gone for it. I wish I would have gone for it. Why didn't I just go for it? You know, Tim Kirkland made a post the other day. It said, and I don't remember off the top of my head, it was something like, I don't want to look back at my life and say, why didn't I do that? I want to look back at my life and say, I can't believe I did that. Don't look back in your life and go, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I go for it? Why didn't I try? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? Don't look back on your life with the why didn't I. Look back on your life and go, I'm so glad that I tried, that I went for it. I left everything on the field. I left everything on the field. Win or lose, I left everything on the field. How many of you guys are committed? What's the key word? Committed. You're 100% committed to going after what you want. You only live once. There is no repeat. There is no second shot at this. Who is going to go after what they want in this life? In closing, I want you guys to see yourself there every single day. This is just this second one here is just a glimpse into a second philosophy. But I can tell you that ever since I was 20, I saw myself there. People are like, Nick, did you ever see this happening? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, of course. The only people that don't see themselves happy they're successful maybe bought a lottery ticket. But maybe they probably wouldn't buy a lottery ticket unless they saw themselves winning. I saw myself on stadiums full of tens of thousands of people when I was 20. Yeah. I've never seen an ambassador that got on stage like, ladies and gentlemen, here to tell you, I never ever saw myself up here on stage. Never. I can't even believe they would actually pay me. This is ridiculous. Every ambassador who got there saw themselves there. Every ambassador. And the more you see yourself there, guys, put this together. The more you see yourself there, it's not that it magically attracts to you, the more your brain looks for opportunity to get you to ambassador. That's it. The more you see yourself as a 5-star, the more you're training your filter to identify your next regional director, to identify your next national director, to identify your next opportunity, to identify your next ambassador. This is how your brain works. Your brain has got to be trained. Your filter has got to be trained. See yourself as a 5-star ambassador every day, and opportunities open up to you. You got to see yourself every single day. So, let me do one thing with you guys. Do me a favor. Take your stuff. Just set it on the ground in front of you real quick. And for those of you guys that don't want to participate, just take a nap for the next 3 minutes. Yeah, it's okay. Everybody else relax for a second. And do me a favor, close your eyes real quick. This is what it's like to see yourself there every day. Take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. Just relax. Take another deep breath. No worries, no stress. Take another deep breath. Keep your eyes closed. Just relax. Take another deep breath. I want you to wake up for a moment in your dream home. Who's sitting next to you? I want you to walk over to the window. Draw back the blinds. Scan from the left all the way to the right. What do you see? This is that view that you've dreamed for your whole life. The one you had worked so hard for. All the work that you put in, all the issues that you overcame, all the challenges you overcame, to be where you're at right now. Take a walk down your house up the stairs. I want you to walk all the way down to your garage, and I want you to hop in that vehicle, your favorite dream vehicle. I want you to take that thing for a spin. Take it down your favorite stretch of road. What's playing on the stereo right now? Is it that song that you always played that got you past that moment? The song that you played that got you focused and fired up? Who's sitting next to you? Take a look at that window. What do you see? How does it feel right now to know that you're living the life of your dreams? You pull up to a stadium. It's a Visalis convention. You walk inside, today's the day you get promoted to 5-star ambassador. A slideshow is playing. And the slideshow that's playing is the slideshow of your life. It is playing to that song that you picked. That song that you love so much that tells the story of you and your life. Picture after picture. You stand in the back of the room, holding the hand of that special person, and then they call your name. You make your way to stage and 25,000 people stand up and give you a standing ovation. You get to the middle of the stage, you stand right there, you start scanning all the way from the left, all the way to the right. And you do a slow scan because you want to take in all 25,000 of those people. They give you the microphone and you tell your story. You tell your story of every obstacle, every roadblock, everything that got in your way, everyone that told you that you couldn't, every time that you thought you couldn't make it, every time you got knocked down, you told the story about how you picked yourself back up. You told the story about how you kept going. You told the story about how you made it. Somebody in that room needed to hear that story. Hundreds of people in that room needed to hear your story. You look down at your team. They're crying. You're crying. You make a commitment to them that you will not stop until they make it to that stage with you. You finish telling that story.